Test, test. We will begin the Community Leader Roundtable in 2 minutes. So if you will, please start to find your seats. And just as a friendly reminder, please place your cell phones on vibrate. Thank you.
Hello? There we go.
You on now? We're live.
Are we going to the bar?
Our Community Leader Roundtable, if you would, please find your seats. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is James Ring. I have the privilege and honor of hosting and emceeing tonight's Community Leader Roundtable on behalf of Commissioner-elect Guy Lalonde. I would like to welcome you all. So thank you for being here. I'd like to start out by thanking Dr. Sally Stone and her husband Mario for hosting tonight's event at the Well. Also, a special thank you to Denise with Mary's Bagels for the delicious food. All right, and at this time, I would like to invite Pastor John Freet. He is the senior pastor of Believers Fellowship. He is going to lead us in a word of prayer and also the pledge. Pastor?
It's Christmas time, and I don't get to wear this coat but this time of year, so I hope it's not too much for you. I love this city. How about you?
Amen.
And I believe God loves this city. And I believe his hand is still upon this city. So would you just join me in praying over the city, over our leaders. Father, we come to you in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. We thank you that you hear our prayers and that you answer. We pray for this city of Lakeland. Lord, you have a divine plan, a divine destiny for this city. You have been here and visited so many times in so many ways. And Lord, I pray that you're not done with us yet, that you're not done with this city, this state, or this nation, that there are still great things to come. We pray for all of our leaders. We start local right here and pray for our mayor and our commissioners and Commissioner Guy Lalonde, Commissioner-elect Guy Lalonde, and we pray for him, all of the changes and all of the things that need to be done in our city. Father, I pray for these leaders that they would lean upon you, that they would not trust their own understanding, but they would acknowledge you and that you would direct their paths. And we pray that same thing for our state leaders, our national leaders. Lord, thank you for your providence in creating this great nation, creating this great city, and that your hand is still upon her. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
Would you stand, please, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. So as a quick reminder, I would like to let you all know that tonight's event is being live streamed on the Wells Facebook page. So if you have Facebook, we would encourage you to share it on your Facebook page so that this roundtable gets the most reach as possible throughout the community. So again, please share tonight's event on the Well on Facebook. Also, I'd like to let everyone know that kind of give you a run-through of how tonight will go. So we'll invite some folks up from the Lakeland Police Department to speak about some of the services that they provide to the Northwest community. Following that, we'll have Commissioner-elect Lalonde come up and speak for a little bit. And then at that point, we'll open it up to audience feedback and discussion. So we'll provide a mic up here, and so you'll have an opportunity to come up, and we'll provide 2 minutes to provide feedback. What I will tell you, this forum is not a forum designed for Commissioner-elect Lalonde to tell you where he stands on a particular issue or how he feels. This is purely a listening session. He wants to hear feedback from the community on what his priorities should be as he takes his seat in January. So again, this is an opportunity to provide feedback, and so we encourage you to please share your thoughts throughout the evening. All right, at this time, I would like to welcome Michelle Brown Cochran. She is the crime prevention practitioner for the Lakeland Police Department assigned to the Northwest District. Please welcome Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle Brown. I'm your crime prevention practitioner for Northwest Lakeland. And what I do is I go to all the neighborhood watch and neighborhood association meetings. Usually they meet about once a month. Some meet about every other month. We go over crime statistics in the neighborhood. If there's certain things going on that needs to be brought to our officers' attention, then I will assign the correct officers for that problem. It could be speeding in the neighborhoods, it could be drug problems, prostitution, whatever it is, I make sure it goes to the right section at the police department. And then we also reach out to other departments in the city. If there's problems with lighting, we contact Lakeland Electric, or anything with the city, we can help you with that. We also, events going on in the neighborhoods, we bring that. So we bring a lot of information to the neighborhood meetings. And there's a lot of our neighborhood leaders here tonight. So if you're a neighborhood watch leader in Northwest Lakeland, stand up so everybody can see who you are. I know Miss Barron right here. Stand up. Yep. There's a few of you. Mr. Chastain. So you can go online at the City of Lakeland website and click on neighborhoods, and you can check your address to see which neighborhood you live in, and it'll tell you who your neighborhood leader is and when they meet. And we really need the community involvement of our neighborhoods to help them make them a better place. And I think that's it. Anybody have any questions for me? Okay, yes. Yes, so if you go to the City of Lakeland website, there's button on there for neighborhoods, and you go under there and it tells you all the neighborhood associations and watches inside the city of Lakeland. And you can enter your address or look on the map, and it'll tell you what neighborhood you're in, and to give you the neighborhood leader's contact info and what nights they meet. Okay.
All right, let's hear from Michelle. All right, at this time, I'd like to bring my good friend. So prior to the position that I'm in now, I worked as a Lakeland police officer and sergeant for 12 years. I had the privilege and honor of working side by side with the gentleman that's coming up, and he is assigned to the Neighborhood Services Division, correct? All right. And he oversees the NLOs and the PAL program and so many other programs, and we are absolutely blessed to have him in that position. So without any further ado, please welcome Lieutenant Joe Parker.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening, folks. So I'm Lieutenant Joe Parker. Currently, I work over the Neighborhood Liaison Group under the Special Operations Division. So my job encompasses the outreach, if you would, to the community to help build that bond between the police department and the community. We have to develop our community partnerships, and so that's what our major focus is. The patrol units are directed and guided by the quantity of 911 calls, the emergency calls. They're the first responders. So they don't often get an opportunity to dig into deep-rooted chronic neighborhood issues, and that's what my guys do, my guys and my gals. So I have the Neighborhood Liaison Unit. We work very closely with Michelle Brown's group in community services. If you look in the back, you will see an accoutrement of my guys. I have Sergeant Henry is in the back, Officer McGurk, Officer Hammersley, who works for the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency, and you have Officer, she has a long last name, but we call her Gabby, so it's probably easier if you just call her Gabby. But we work with the community and our community stakeholders to figure out what the issues they are having are in their community and help them better resolve those problems through the partnerships with those community leaders to figure out what we can do as a department and how we can partner up with our other city agencies to fix problems. For instance, we just had 2 nuisance houses that we went through the Nuisance Abatement Board to get closed up and shut those crime havens down so that we don't have to deal with them in the community. You know, if we have a festering spot in the community, that crime tends to grow tentacles and go out further in the community, and we don't want that to happen. So if you ever have any issues where you feel like you just don't see relief in the immediate future, then reach out to me. You can reach me at joe.parker@lakelandgov.net, and I can get it to my people, and we will assign the best resource to help you manage that situation. So like Michelle said, it can be anything from traffic issues, loud music issues, prostitution issues, drug issues, you name it. We'll figure it out for you, and we'll help you get that resolve and relief in your community. We got our Deputy Chief Hans Lehman's in the back as well. He is the chief over our division. One final thing before I pass the mic. Going back into the 1800s, Sir Robert Peel is often credited with formulating the design of the first organized police department, and he says the community are the police and the police are the community. So I'm happy to see that there are a lot of community members here, the heads of these different neighborhood watch associations and neighborhood groups. We can't do it without you. So keep in mind, though, as we have a succession plan at the police department, as we're bringing up our young officers that you see in the back into these new leadership positions, make sure that you're reaching out into your neighborhoods and your communities and developing that succession plan for your leadership in your community. Bring these young folks out so they can come to these meetings and help voice these concerns and help innovate in how, as young people, they can take an ownership stake in their community and help us be the best Lakeland we can be. Engaging in the youth is important. As I mentioned, I am the lieutenant over the Police Athletic League. So we are working on revamping that, revitalizing that. I'm trying to get a new facility so that we can best host and promote those lifetime learning opportunities in our youth, because they are the future. If we can engage with our youth and get them on the right path and keep them on the right path, with worthwhile programming, then that's the best long-term crime prevention that we can come up with. And we can, home grow our own workforce. All these folks in the community, they are a wealth of knowledge with a lot of different careers that they can share with these young people. And if you have a desire, or if you have some ideas to help us better manage how we can get PAL out into all the different neighborhoods in Lakeland, then please reach out to me and let me know. And if you want to volunteer and help with that, then we are all ears. So with that, if you have any questions for me, I'm here. If not, I'll pass it on.
Joe, would you take a second and maybe mention about fundraising and stuff for the PAL League, the initiatives to drive those monies, either through donations or public-private partnerships?
Sure. So the Police Athletic League is a independently run 501c3. So we do work with the youth. If you have a business or if you have a source of support that you would like to help support PAL, it is and always has been a partnership between government and private entities that keep PAL going. For instance, I started a 2-week-long vocational trade summer camp a couple years ago, and I'm able to keep that going through not only the generosity of the city that supports us, but also through private sponsors and businesses here in the Lakeland community. Without individuals that are dedicated to, supporting our police and our youth programming, then we can't get it done. So if you know someone who is interested in supporting through volunteer work or through financial support for these programs to engage with our youth, then again, please reach out and let us know. It's 501c3, it's tax deductible. And if we can't see that our youth are our most valuable resource, and we're not willing to engage and financially support that, then we ain't doing something right. So y'all think about that and let me know if you have any ideas or if you have any sources to let me know. Mr. Robinson? We continuously have mentoring. As we engage with these kids through the sports program that we have football, cheerleading, archery, fishing. We're venturing into the wrestling realm this year. So we're constantly looking for the programming to attract the kids. What my vision is for the PAL program is that, say for instance, if we have 150 kids enrolled in football, I would like to see 150 kids enrolled in some kind of tutoring or some kind of other mentoring program. We can attract them with sports, but we need to be holding on to them long term, for a lifetime succession plan for them, a lifelong learning plan, and get them to buy into that culture, that attitude, that it's not all about entertainment all the time. So we also do have currently tutoring that takes place at Simpson Park and some at the Coleman Bush building. I would like to see that revitalized, but what we have to do is make sure that we have the right people. We have to have insurance in place by state statute. We have to have the right credentials, the right resources to provide those services to the kids. That's what we have to make sure is in place. I was hoping that in the next 3 years we could have the building, the facility to house that, a perfect venue for what we want to see the program evolve into. I would like to see it happen as quickly as possible, but again, that's how I can't emphasize enough the community partnership here in raising those funds. I'd like to kick off a campaign to get that to happen. We see other programs happen. Like I said, I don't know how to say it any other way, but if you don't see a youth program as viable as PAL, PAL's been around for 30 years in the city of Lakeland. It started out in like 1905 or something like that in New York City. So across the country, it has proven to be a great program. It's been in Lakeland for 30 years, and I would like to see us grasp onto it as a community and get it built up to what we want it to be. So, Mr. Robinson, yes, we're working on it. That is our vision, and I want to make sure that we have the right partners in the community. I am reaching out to the Polk County School Board, to our local colleges, trying to figure out the best way to partner with the learning resources so we get the right tutoring and the right mentoring programs in place. I would agree that we don't have the best building for tutoring at this point. But again, I can't emphasize to you enough how there's just no other way to do it than do it the right way. And as a police department, we have to adhere strictly to those governances that, you know, are in place for the right credentials, the right certifications, the right insurance, so that we're doing it the right way. I would hate to tell you that we're going to rush into doing something and it not be the right way. I'm with you. I hear the community and its demand for the tutoring, but you also have to understand that we have to do it the right way. And my goal is to get that support from the city and through these community partners to make that happen as quickly as possible. I don't want it to take 3 years. So as soon as possible is what I can promise you, but the right way. In the back, sir. So again, we have to be careful in the types of partnerships that we do. We can't do it without partnerships. There are only so many police officers and our expertise is in policing, so we have to figure out community partnerships. So if you have some kind of idea of an existing partnership that could take place, then again, I'm all ears, and obviously we'll look at it and see if that will work for a partnership with PAL. Anybody else? Yes, sir. So, Pastor Joseph wants to know about the prostitution taking place in the area.
We've been going over this for the last 7 years and nothing has been done. You know, we've been waiting on, what is your police captain, what his name is? Sean Ross, what's his name?
The state attorney's
We've
office.
been waiting for the state attorney for years now, and he has not showed up to one of our meetings.
Okay.
Something has to be done. When y'all got built Barnett Springs Park, you moved all the prostitution out. Wasn't no problem. Now you building up Northwest Lake Wire. We got to get rid of these drugs and everything, and it don't make no sense. It's going on for too long.
Yes, sir. So, for those of us in the room who has, okay.
Come on now.
For those who have not been privy to the previous conversations about prostitution and the way it's dealt with in the state of Florida, it's a progressive discipline. So it's not until the third conviction of prostitution that it turns into a felony. So for the first 2 convictions, it's only a misdemeanor crime. And there are sentencing guidelines, there are diversion assignments that are supposed to take place when someone's charged with soliciting a prostitute or offering themselves for prostitution. Okay, so you got the Johns that are picking up the ladies, and then you've got the ladies that are out working. Sometimes they have to consider if human trafficking is an element in it, especially when you're dealing with the younger generation of folks that get trapped in it. And that's a real problem, and a lot of people don't understand that human trafficking is a problem here in Lakeland. It's not just something that you see on television. But again, Pastor Joseph, if we are arresting them and doing our part, it goes through the state attorney's office, and we have to rely on them to put them in the rehab. And
The state attorney is not doing nothing. For years we've been hearing about the state attorney. He won't even come to a meeting.
right,
I mean, you guys, it's okay for you guys, all these white jobs coming in the neighborhood, they're passing A's out all over the place.
right,
That's all they're doing. 90% of the people over here are white jobs.
okay.
And with trucks, and they're taking all these diseases and passing them around. When are you gonna do something? You've been saying you're gonna do something for years, and it's 10 years now. Still ain't doing nothing. Yes, I'm pissed off, because I've been bothered about it for a long time. I brought prayer to school. I was fussed about prayer to school, and now we got the first 2
I agree with your sentiment. It's very frustrating for the police department to go out and arrest these same individuals over and over and over again. It's not just prostitution, we deal with that, but the drug dealers we arrest over and over again. You know, the gang members we arrest over and over again.
But
So
have you guys tried putting them in a school or something they can go to and until they get rehabilitated? It takes time.
it's part of the sentencing guidelines. It really is. If you pull up the state statute for prostitution,
For 30 days, you let them out right back out of the street and run. That's all that's going to happen.
Pastor Joseph, that's something that's outside of the hands of the police, though. We can arrest them and send them to the system, but until they change the statute, I mean, I understand the frustration, and I can have my guys looking into it to make those arrests and pick it up in specific areas. If you have specific locations, I mean, generally we know where they are, but unfortunately, and it's sad to say, that it's the same people doing the same thing. It's a progressive life choice that they continue to make. And without the system in place to deal with it long term, those diversion programs, that mental health counseling, those long-term programming that we need, it's unfortunate we have to keep dealing with it. Which, on your second point about needing a recreation center for the kids, it's so important for us to have those worthwhile programmings in place for these kids so they don't end up in that kind of situation. Ms. Simpkins?
In response to Mr. Joseph's concerns, sometimes you have to look a little deeper than just the prostitution itself. This situation has been happening in certain neighborhoods for decades, and my biggest issue when I was employed with the city of Lakeland was that there are a lot of absentee property managers that don't manage their property well, and that being a problem because they have a place to go and they have a place to have the prostitution houses. The Johns know where to pick them up, so there are locations they're going to navigate to those properties where they might be abandoned or poor property management. I really feel like the city of Lakeland needs to consider putting a little bit more harder teeth into property management, and if you get complaints, you got the nuisance abatement board, because a decade-old issue or decades issues, there should be some level of a resolution, and I don't think just arresting the prostitutes and the Johns is going to be the issue, but I think that you have to look deeper and look at these poor property managements that are allowing this to happen in their properties. Thank you.
So Ms. Simpkins brings up a good point. The city of Lakeland does have a nuisance abatement board, and when we get the information from the community that they have a nuisance that is existing in their neighborhood, then my guys in the neighborhood liaison unit can start that initial investigation. There's a process. It's actually a civil process, but it starts with the criminal investigation. So my guys can investigate it over a period of time. We have to prove that this nuisance, this criminal activity has taken place on a property over a period of time by the statute. Once we develop that probable cause, we present that to the abatement board, and then if they agree, then they can close down the property. And as I mentioned earlier, we just got through some hearings where we've closed 2 such properties in the city just this week that we've been working on for a while. When we have those places, as Ms. Simpkins described, then we can go out and do that. We are revitalizing our relationship with code enforcement so that we can work in partnership with code enforcement to accomplish that task. So it is something we are working on, Ms. Simpkins, and something that we are going to be beefing up, because there are some spots that have fallen in ill repair. And when I say ill repair, not only physically but morally, and so we are working on that, and we will be addressing that.
If you stop these Johns from coming out here, they will stop the alcohol and prostitution. You stop them. In Detroit, you lock up, you stop the person you got caught prostituting, trying to trick. They took their vehicle, put their name up in the Hall of Shame. On a statue, write it down. You can stop it if you want to. Say what you want to say, but you can be stopped if you want to.
Pastor Joseph, I hear you, and we are allowed as police officers to work within the confines of the law. We can't work outside of the law. So,
Chicago, Detroit, New York, and I've seen it.
yes, sir.
So you brought up you answered how to solve the problem. Has anyone worked on getting this changed legislatively? If the law says you have to do this and it takes this many times before it becomes a felony and it's initially a misdemeanor, what legislators have been approached about getting that changed so that you have more teeth to actually stop the problem earlier?
Well, I will answer that question like this. Mr. Ring is the legal expert here in regard to getting laws changed, working through the city commission. And I know we have our city ordinances. So, as the commissioner here, Mr. Lalonde can look further into that and work on our city attorney and our city manager, the mayor, in regard to the inner workings of the legal system here in our jurisdiction,
Has
regarding
anybody
the city of
handled it
Lakeland.
on a state level or gone to? That's what I work for Citizens Defending Freedom. We advocate for citizens that have problems like this. So I'll give you a card. If you tell me what the statute is that's there, I'll see if I can reach out to somebody in the community that can get involved, that can get something changed. Citizens can change bad laws. We just have to talk to somebody. It doesn't do any good to yell at this officer for something he can't solve. But if you go to who makes the law and you talk to them and you speak to them respectfully and you let them know what problems are going on in the neighborhood, and I'll be glad to talk to anybody in this room about getting involved with that, and I'll be glad to get citizens to help you with that. And I would love to give you a card and help you with that as well.
Absolutely, and one of the most important things we can do as a community in getting laws changed or laws or changes in ordinance in front of the right people is getting out and vote for the right people so that we can get these things done. So that's the best answer I can give you, sir, for that. And again, Pastor Joseph, I hear you. We've discussed it, but we can only do what we can do without going to jail ourselves, and we can't do that. Anybody else? Thank you all. You know how to get a hold of me.
So I can tell you from personal experience and getting to hang out with Joe when he's off duty that this is more than just a job for him. It's an absolute passion. Day and night, he's talking about how to solve issues, how to solve problems. He's constantly working on trying to build a larger and bigger PAL building, working with Senator Colleen Burton, working with State Representative Jennifer Kennedy. He had a recent rendering done up by the Lunge Group. He's working hard, I promise you. He doesn't take the issues lightly. We hear your frustration, and that's literally why he's here. We want to hear the issues so that we can address them. And sometimes that's through legislative changes. Sometimes that's working with community partners, Say Law Freedom, One More Child, those social service organizations, because obviously we can't arrest our way out of this problem. We're talking about one of the oldest professions in civilization. And so it's a complex issue that requires a multi-level approach that includes enforcement, that includes tough enforcement, but it also includes compassion, because we do know and we do recognize that human trafficking is involved and that there are victims of human trafficking. So it is something that I know that Lieutenant Parker and Commissioner-elect Guy Lalonde will focus on. All right, so now I've had the opportunity to know Guy for the past few years. I've worked very closely with him over the past few months during his election. I can tell you I've had the privilege of working with a lot of different candidates who've run for office. And hands down, Guy is one of the hardest working, just has an unending endurance. And I have no doubt that he'll bring that same level of commitment to our Lakeland City Commission. So without any further ado, please join me in welcoming Commissioner-elect Guy Lalonde.
Thank you very much. Thank you. How about this? Well, I had a bunch of notes, but clearly that went south very fast. I want to read something first. First, I want to thank Pastor John Freed for your prayer and opening invocation. I also want to thank his church for giving this picture to me. It's Jeremiah 29:7. I'm going to read it real quickly. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city of which I have carried you into. Pray for the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. And I believe in that. So it's a real honor to be here tonight. I know this probably hasn't been done before. There's a couple people in the room that I want to acknowledge first. One is my lovely wife, Tanya. My son, Brock. There's some great communities. Thank you for the police department for coming around. The Honorable Commissioner, Mr. Philip Walker, who's hiding back there. Thank you very much for coming. And once again, there's plenty of food back there. You are missing out if you do not try some of Mary Bagel's food. It's fantastic. Enjoy it. If not, I got to take it all home, and I will eat it. I will. So tonight is maybe something a little different. And so you're going to excuse if I feel a little unease. I wanted to try something different. Maybe it's not too different, or maybe it is, but I wanted to get a group of community leaders to talk to me, to tell me about your ideas, to tell me about your solutions, and to be open and honest with you that I don't have all the answers or all the solutions. Being a part of this commission means that I'm only one vote, one of 7, and I'm aware of the lens of this election. I wasn't aware of this election or the lens of which it held with African American representation going into it. As many of you may know, I had sought appointment last October. None of this information was shared to me until maybe after the first debate when it became attentive to me. I cannot change the color of my skin. I'm not going to change who my mother and father is. I cannot change how I was raised or where I lived. But I can tell you, I can represent you, and I will represent you. I will be passionately focused on representing each and every citizen in the Northwest District. I will work tirelessly for you. I've told many people before, and I'll tell you again. You got a pen, record it, whatever you want. My phone number is 863-286-5921. I will call you back as soon as I possibly can. Many people don't realize that I was actually raised in the Northwest District. I'm a Parks and Rec's kid. God bless the Parks and Rec. Many bologna sandwiches and apples out of there. A lot of time at Tiger Town. And, it helped change and guide me in a different way during the daytime. I got to swim in the pool beside the hospital. I had many friends, and I enjoyed my time there. I also want to share real quickly, there's another good person here that means a lot to me, Miss Lolita Barron. Would you please raise your hand? I got to spend a lot of quality time with Miss Lolita Barron. Thank you so much for coming. I know you have many amazing ideas, and I look forward to working with you personally. I also want to thank Dr. Samuel Simmons for running a good, hard race. He made me work very hard. He's a good man and an honorable man. I've reached out to him, and I look forward to working with him and hearing about his concerns and his passions. I assure you that a lot of his initiatives and my initiatives are 100% aligned, and they're directly focused on the Northwest District. Tonight, a lot of people had asked for demographic information. There's copies up front. Please grab a copy. I realize that some of them may be doubles. There are some, there's lots of things that people have asked for, and they should be aware of what's going on in the Northwest District. Some of the median wages that you see are about $48,000 per capita here in the area. I don't believe it truly encompasses all of the North Lake Wire area and extending up further. So maybe some of the numbers are excused, but those are things that we can do. Currently in the Northwest District, there's a 5.2% unemployment rate, according to the city of Lakeland or the 220. When I say this information, you can read it and review it. With that, so what was shed to you early is about engagement and about involvement. And part of that involvement and engagement means when a census comes out, federal dollars are given to us by census. It is imperative that you guys, us, myself, everyone, you get a neighbor, fill out that census. Fill out that census, it puts more dollars back into our neighborhood and gives us more resources. I'm not going to talk too much because I really want to hear about your ideas and stuff, but I will share a few things. One, deep concerns, I want to work very, very closely with Joe Parker to ensure that we can get this PAL League up and running as fast as possible. As fast as possible. A lot of you guys have great contacts. Put me in touch with these people. I want to talk about more public-private partnerships, trying to drive these dollars to help make things come to fruition. Car washes, baked goods, whatever we have to do. I'll wash cars, I'll do whatever I got to do. Call me, I'll wash a car. Give me a couple bucks, I'll give it to the PAL League. Fire department. We need a fire department in the Northwest District. We got to reduce the call times out in this area. This is imperative. This is extremely imperative in the Northwest District. Currently, we only have Station 3, and Station 3 call times, I have personally seen it, standing on a corner, waving a sign, waiting for a fire truck to arrive. And those guys are doing the utmost best that they possibly can to get to you. But as you very well know, Christmas traffic, it's even harder for these guys to get down the road. And so we need to work that. When it comes with community engagement, that also means showing up to these community, the commission meetings. Become engaged, become involved, advocate for on the behalf of that fire department. Advocate for all of the commissioners, myself included, for accountability. I'm here for you. I work for you. I am honored for each and every person that gave me the vote. And if you didn't, that's fine too. I still want to work for you. I want to be engaged on, moving forward. I also want to recognize one guy I do know, Pastor Mugla. Thank you very much for coming. I had a great pleasure of being able to attend his church lately. Here at the New Bethel AME Church down at the very end of Mount Lacoon. Beautiful church. I invite you to attend. And at this point in time, James, if you want to come up, I want to listen to you guys. Please provide me ideas and solutions. And Terry Coney, I'm glad that you're here too. If you don't belong to the NAACP, it's a wonderful organization. I would encourage you to join. You can help impact. They're also going to help start doing voting drives, correct? We can get more community engagement, more votes, drives. Because remember, people, at the end of the day, it's not about an R, a D, an I, or an L. It's about community, and it's about unity. And I'm here to work for you. And I'm going to be working with Lynn and all these other guys out here. So at this point in time, James is going to come up. We'll pass the mic around. I know we have some time left. I'm going to take lots of notes, so if you don't mind, we'll go from there. Is that okay? Thank you so very much for coming out, please. I'm very grateful to you. Thank you, James.
All right, at this time, we have Michelle Brown. She's going to walk around with a mic. So if you'd like to provide feedback, now is your opportunity. And as Commissioner-elect Lalonde shared, his primary focus will be on taking notes. He's going to be taking notes and listening to your feedback. If you want a response from him, obviously, you're welcome to ask a question. But again, he's here to listen. So.
One other thing, too. Michelle Brown, I will attend any neighborhood meeting in which I'm invited to. I might just attend anyways. So please invite me, because sometimes I'm not aware of them. I go and I get sidetracked with a million meetings, but they're important to me as well. I want to hear from you guys individually, personally, and we'll move forward and get things done.
All right. If you will, just start out by identifying yourself, and thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cora Rankins, and I had the pleasure of being with Mr. Guy today, and he knows what my issue is. As Lakeland is growing very rapidly, the area I feel is disproportionated. Northwest Lakeland goes all the way up past Banana Road. And it cuts off, I believe we were talking around Walmart, somewhere along in there. I'm thinking that we need to do a rezoning of our city so that it can include a lot of people that was unable to vote in this recent election. And I'm talking about people that live right there on Griffin Road. The Publix is on this side, and the left side is covered. They're saying it's county, but we call this Lakeland, and we need to go back and see where the county is and where the city is and make it, it'll be stronger if we did a redistricting of the city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cora.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Hilda Lewis. My question is, when you have the city commissioners meeting, majority of the meetings are in the mornings. Half of the people that I know, I work in the morning time. How can we incorporate an evening meeting before anything get acknowledged or accepted by the daytime city commissioners meeting? By the time the city commission meeting have their meetings in the morning, it's already in agreement to whatever's going to happen. The ones in the evening time that works don't have no say in nothing. So how can we get that better?
I'll take that one. Be honest with you, I'm still green behind the ears when it comes to that. I don't know why they do that, and I'm sure that's probably a concern. Philip, do you have that answer? Thank you, Mr. Walker. Friend.
I'm not going to be here very long because it's your meeting, not mine.
I want you here, man. Hey, I'm going to be
But
knocking on
certainly-
your door.
But certainly two things that were just mentioned. Let me go back to Ms. Cora Rankins. Ms. Cora Rankins, and I'm glad to see that Commissioner-elect Lalonde has provided the jurisdiction, the map, so you understand, or we'll understand what the Northwest District boundaries are. But the city itself can, if the commission would like to do so, do more, I guess they wish to do so, to get those unincorporated areas incorporated.
Yes.
But that's going to be done by, again, as he mentioned,
Yeah.
he only has one vote. It takes 4 out of the 7 to do anything in the city. So if, if the Iowa City citizens would come to the commission and say,
We
I
will
would like to be
advocate.
part of the city, and they're unincorporated, then of course it takes the city to decide whether or not they want to do that, because it takes different things to make that happen. So it just can't happen just, I want to be in the city. It takes, of course, the 4 to 7 to vote if they want to do it. And then you got to think about the cost it takes to then bring those particular areas that are not in the city into the city limits. Because most times, the infrastructure is not proper. A lot of times, you walk from one part of the city that you know is in the city and go across the street and it's the county, boom, it's a different flavor. So it takes money, and then who's going to bear the cost to do that? Those citizens that are already here, or the citizens that are out there that want to come in. So those kind of conversations need to be had by the commission. So it just don't happen just dry on so. Secondly, back to the question about meetings in the evening. We tried that.
Okay.
It just happened recently.
Really?
We did try, the commission did try to do the meetings in the evening, and we made sure we did it, I think almost, if I can think recollection is correct, and someone may have to correct me, Ms. Simpkins, you may remember because you was on staff at the time. I think we did it for almost 2 years. We tried for almost 2 years to see what the numbers would be to bring people to come out in the evening. And I think Commissioner Troll at the time was a lead commissioner on that particular effort. And we just saw the numbers were not good. So we went back, of course, to where it is now, day meetings. And most times, because when you have meetings on a day, you need different other folk who come before the commission with concerns, especially business people. They work 9 to 5, and if they go past 5, then their employer has to pay them double time or overtime to come and discuss whatever the matter may be before the commission. We understood all that, but we still tried it. And the numbers did not reflect to make the change to go to evening meetings. And that's why you're still back to day meetings as it is now. When it was done back during that time?
They're currently
The city commissioners now meetings, he knows that.
Yes, they're currently 9
He can
a.m.
answer that.
All right, you have one up front, Michelle.
As a parallel commissioner, former commissioner, what do we call him?
We call him commissioner.
Friend Walker, yeah. As a parallel to what he was saying, and this is why I appreciate this meeting here today, the reality is public comment at a city commission meeting, you have an opportunity for public comment on a specific item, and then there's open forum public comment at the end of a meeting. But really the most powerful thing is by the time you get to a meeting, most decisions are already made. So having the relationship with your commissioner,
Yes.
because then you can hound him, yell at him, send him nasty emails and nice ones, right?
could just-
Whatever.
we could
You
just
have the
have talks.
relationship, have a
Talks
conversation.
would be nice.
Ahead of time, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, the week ahead, few days ahead, and you convince him so that when he goes to that meeting, that you've already changed his mind concerning stuff that maybe he wasn't aware of, and that's why I love this today. I will just speak to this. In my several years of local political involvement, this is the first meeting that I'm aware of that a single commissioner called and said, come sit with me, I want to hear what you have to say. I applaud you for having the meeting. Oh, and you tell me when any politician, local or not, gave you his phone number publicly. I don't know what's wrong with you, but thank you.
It is what it is.
So I will actually caveat one thing to Pastor Freed's comment. I would absolutely encourage you, it is imperative, it's vital that you do show up to these city commission meetings and you do speak, because while some procedural decisions may already be made ahead of time, there are some decisions that are extremely critical and important to you and your community, and if you don't show up and you don't make your voice heard, you won't have an impact on that outcome. I can tell you that I've had personal experiences where we led an effort to relocate the Confederate Memorial to Veterans Park, and there were city commissioners who were undecided up until the point that we all spoke before the city commission, and they ultimately made a decision to relocate, and I think that was because of the community outpouring in support of folks from across the community. So you have to show up to meetings, you have to be involved, and that's absolutely critical. So don't be disengaged simply because you feel that decisions are made oftentimes without your input. So please do show up and please be involved in that process because it is important.
So I think John said it very well. You're the only commissioner that's given your cell phone number to the community. I don't know if anyone wrote it down, but you should probably give it to them again.
Sure. It's 863.
And you might want to call him and see if
That's
he'll
fine.
give you the other commissioner's
Call
cell
it
phone
now.
numbers.
It's on vibrate now, though, but it's 863-286-5921. 863-286-5921. You can also watch this again on the Wells Facebook page because we are streaming live. So,
All right, Terry Coney.
Just a couple of questions. First on comments on the becoming part of the city or neighborhood. There's a process there. It's called annexation. And in actuality, a community subdivision actually has to come to the city to request to be annexed. And there are a lot of communities that don't want to do that because of city taxes. And unfortunately, through politicians or whatever, taxes has become a bad word. But you have to understand that municipalities aren't for profit. So the lower your taxes, probably the worse the services you're going to get in the city. As far as city commissions go, yeah, it's during the daytime. At one time, it was at 3 p.m., and sometimes you may not even get out of there until 7. But every item that they have what's called a first reading, second reading before the commission ever votes on it. And you can also, every commission meeting is recorded. So even if you don't get a chance to go in person, you can watch it. And if you're part of a neighborhood association, maybe you can get your neighborhood association president to come to express your concerns or representative to express your concern. Everybody should have the experience of coming to a city commission meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Coney.
And I just wanted to add something to that also. The commission meetings are during the day, but most of your neighborhood watch and neighborhood association meetings are in the evening. And we're not having a lot of participation from some neighborhoods. So go to your neighborhood meetings, find out what's happening in your neighborhood, bring your concerns. And Mr. Lalonde said he will go to the meetings if we need him to go.
I'm going to caveat, not only will I go to those meetings, if you're having a hard time getting out to them, I've attended several of these community meetings. There are a lot of great people trying to do great work, but as I attend these meetings, there's a lot of times it's the same people. Same people showing up because they're caring and they're passionate and they're doing the hard work and they love their communities. You know, you got signs, you put up the signs. You ain't getting them to come out, I'll walk with you. I will personally knock on doors with you and invite them. If I got to make a flyer, I can ask the city to make flyers. I will go door to door. This doesn't stop here. I'm going to just share one quick thing before we move on. But March 26th, we've already talked to Dr. Stone and Mario Stone. And, you know, I knew that I think I told the Ledger, you know, if it works out good, we're going to do this. I prayed about that this morning. We're doing another one. It'll be March 26th, same time, same location. I think we're going to continue them quarterly. So I think this is best. This could have more engagement and more communication. Open communication. Attend the meetings, the neighborhood meetings, the commission meetings. Get out, make a difference. At the end of the day, this is going to be about collaboration. And that doesn't mean me, that means us. Community, unity, and collaboration. That means we're going to co-labor together. You want it done? Help me get it done. I'm just going to be one vote, but I will advocate tirelessly on your behalf.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity, Commissioner-elect. I'm Shannon Turbyville, represents the Lakeland Professional Firefighters. And, we are strong advocates for a Northwest Lakeland fire station. Our fire chief has made it known about 5 years ago there was a need in Northwest Lakeland within the city limits. And as you know, we've advocated for that, and you made that a part of your campaign. Former Commissioner Walker was a part of that, moving that forward, and we thank you for that as well.
Absolutely.
But we're a year into this since it's been approved, and we don't have property, is my understanding. And I hope you will help us get that across the finish line.
You know where
Thank
I
you.
stand on that, so I'll certainly do my very best. I'll
Thank
be
you,
a
sir.
strong advocate for that fire department.
All right, do we have any others? This is your opportunity. This is your voice at the table. Yes, Denise.
Hold that mic up, Denise.
My name is Denise Gilmore, owner of Mary's Bagel Cafe, right across the street from Lakeland Regional Health. I was born and raised on that property where Mary's Bagel stands at now. I've been knowing Lynn all my life. The area, as far as in the parks, where they have semi-trucks parked on the side of the road, loud music at night. I get to work 3 o'clock in the morning to start my day. Loud music playing at the Jamaican restaurant. I have heard profanity in the middle of the road coming to work. Big 18-wheelers. 18-wheelers are not supposed to be parked in residential area. I was born and raised in that area all my life. I know it from the back end to the whatever. Worked at Lakeland Regional for 27 years, from 1989 to 2017. Then I started working with my husband at our tax office, and then I came up with Mary Bagels Cafe. The parks are terrible. There's so much debris that needs to be cut down. We need to implement some type of program to get the elderly house painted. Like Clearwater, they have Paint Your Heart Out. Some of these kids, they need community hours. They can paint, scrub paint off the wall, put new paint on. Trust me, I know, because my dad had me doing it. Am I right, Lynn? I was outside all the time. My grandmother, Mary, had me pulling up weeds Saturday morning. Church on Sunday. On Wednesday, prayer band. The area needs to be cleaned up. The park needs to look better. If it's a problem with vegetation, get plants that really doesn't need water. The mulch needs to be changed. I have seen where they changed the mulch out probably once a year on Martin Luther King, right before the parade. I have seen, ever since I was a little girl, those lights that they have on Martin Luther King, they just changed them out last year. You know who complained? I did. They had the same lights ever since I was a little girl up there on those poles. They just changed them out to LED last year. Like I said, I come to work 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving up New York. I almost hit somebody. You know why? Because of the lights. Can't see at all. But now they done changed out all of the lights in that whole area. Your Webster Park area, 8th Street, 7th Street, 9th Street, 10th Street, They done changed all of them out now. But why did it take this long to get it changed out? My thing is, don't complain about nothing if you can't do anything about it. It is time for everybody in this community to work together. Stop pointing the finger, poking the bear. Look at yourself before you point your finger at anybody else. We gotta get it together, people. We have to get it together. Because if we don't, who's gonna do it? Who's gonna do it? I brought Mary's Bagel back to the property where I was raised at. I never left Lakeland. I might have moved in Terralago, but I know where I was born and raised. Right where my cafe is at, named after my grandmother. We have to clean it up. We have to. Look at downtown Lakeland. Nice, pretty, vegetation, plants, whatever. Why do our area have to look the way how it looks now? The area been looking like that ever since I was a little girl, and still looking like it. It makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. I brought Mary's Bagel to boost up the area, to make it look good. And I'm not done yet, you guys. I still got something else working on, if the Lord's willing. But we need to clean it up. We need to get it to look right. Everybody needs to work together. Stop pointing the finger at everybody. Do your job. Work together. Be a community. That's all we need to do. And I have talked to Guy about many stuff, one-on-one with him. One-on-one. It's not about race. It's not. Because you know what? My husband is white. He ain't black, he's white. It's not about race. Everybody want to put race into it. It's not about race. It is not. It's time to work together. It's time to get up and move the feet and get to working to make our area look like how downtown Lakeland is looking. All these other communities around here, we need to let ours look that way also too. You have to work together. You have to. Because like I say, if we don't do it, who will? It'll keep looking the same way like how it's been looking ever since I was a little girl. It's time to stop pointing the finger. It's time to get to work.
All right, I saw one more hand raised, so we'll take that one additional comment, then out of respect, we'll wrap it up. I will say that Commissioner-elect Lalonde will be available after this forum, so if anyone would like to speak one-on-one with him, he will stick around afterwards, but we'll pass the mic off. Sir, did you have something you wanted to say?
Ms. Mary, I understand what you're saying. It took 8 months for me to complain to Bear Months about the lights being out in Lakeland. 8 long months, and it don't make no sense. And they finally came and did it. 8 long months. I have cried in this after week after week after week. 8 months. So like you said, it ain't about the race car, because I got white in my family. My son-in-law is white. I got nieces and nephews, right? So it ain't no about the race car. I've been mixed with everything. But I'm too.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Stone.
One thing.
I just wanted to take the opportunity to say, you know, how important it is for us to continue this type of engagement. And I think that everything that has been said today speaks very authentically to what most of us have been feeling and wanting to see done. This is not a one time. This needs to be a continuous, because many times we get started, something happens, we get excited, and then things die down. And I appreciate Commissioner-elect for being willing to step forward and do what really is a big work. It is not going to be easy to change the dynamics, but it is possible.
Yes.
So I just want to take a moment to say on behalf of my husband, Mario Stone, and myself, we are a CRA, Community Redevelopment Agency project. We are a public-private partnership with the City of Lakeland's Office of Economic Development. We submitted a proposal, we gave an idea, it was approved, and I believe that the well is positioned to be a hub, to be a partner, to be a propitiator of what we need to do to build community engagement so that it's sustainable, that it's economically viable, and that everybody has a part and an opportunity to take ownership. And lastly, I'm going to put it out here because I believe in saying what you really want. We want to buy this building. Help us do that. Like many other business owners and entrepreneurs, there are creative ways to make sure small business is viable. You have not because you ask not. I'm coming for you, Commissioner-elect.
I'm here.
And all the rest of them. And we appreciate the support that we have had at this point. We'll be 2 years old in January, and I just believe we're only beginning. And it takes the collaborative efforts of everybody sitting in this space. If you have something you need to get done to help enhance our community, come see us. It's not about dollars all the time, but that's important. It's about building our community together.
Amen.
And that's what we need to do. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to March. We're going to get this done.
Yes, sir.
John Williams, City of Lakeland, Parks and Recreation Department. While I'm on the recreation side of Parks and Recreation, I'm not on the parks side. I do sit in those meetings, and I hear you. I took notes as well about the beautification and those things, and I do see the dollars. I want to make sure I don't speak out of turn, but I will say that after we leave this meeting tonight, I'm sure Commissioner-elect Lunde, if I pronounce that,
You're
please forgive
fine.
me. I do want to build a relationship with you as well. And I will bring that back to my director, Bob Donahue. So I just want to let you know and everyone else in the room know, while he was not able to make it tonight, I am here, I am a voice, I am here to assist in any way that I can, and I just want to let you know you were heard, and we will address it.
I appreciate you coming. I didn't know who he had sent. I did reach out to him. Please, let's talk right after the meeting. I know it may take a little while, but I appreciate that.
All right, so we live in one of the most beautiful cities in the entire United States, in my opinion. We have a wonderful community. I've seen it time and time again. One of the most important lessons that I learned as a police officer was building trust is extremely difficult. It takes consistency, it takes hard work, it takes open communication, it takes being vulnerable, and sometimes putting yourself out there. And over time, that trust is built. We've recognized that tonight, you don't have that trust established with Commissioner-elect Lalonde. That will be established over time when he does the things that he says he's going to do. And that's how a trust will be established. We also recognize that trust can be completely torn away in the blink of an eye. And so I can assure you that Commissioner-elect Lalonde will work tirelessly to build and to grow trust across our community. So with that, I do want to turn it over to Commissioner-elect Lalonde.
Appreciate it. First of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you all first for coming out here. Once again, just for grins and giggles, my phone number is 863-286-5921. Do want to once again personally thank Dr. Stone and her husband Mario. We will be doing this again March 26th, and it'll be the same time, 5:30 to whenever, who knows. Maybe we'll go longer. I want to share just a couple quotes. I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. And that's Dr. Martin Luther King. Today I have faith. I have faith in all of you, and I will work hard to get that faith established in me. Like James is saying, trust is built through transparency. I'll be as transparent as I can be. I'm a human. I'm a flawed person. I'm a flawed human being, saved by the grace of God. So I ask you for your prayers, your guidance, your accountability. I encourage you to call me, meet with me one-on-one. The City Commission, I know I got big shoes to fill. Thank you, Mr. Walker and Mr. Simmons, but we will do this. I believe truly that through the collaboration, we can make these things happen. Anything can come to fruition as long as we continue to work together, unity. So Mr. Frederick Douglass, Mr. Frederick Douglass said, I would unite with anybody to do right and with nobody to do wrong. And that's where I stand. I want to thank you personally for coming out tonight. The police department, thank you for coming out. Hans Lehman for always doing double duty. Joe Parker, Michelle Brown Cochran, Denise Gilmore, Mary's Bagels, all my friends and family, please thank you. Thank you so very much for coming. Thank you. Lolita.